Every morning, millions of people recite the same 24 syllables. Almost none of them know it took a king three failed attempts and one abandoned throne before he found them. 3,000 years ago, a powerful king named Vishwamitra rode into the forest hermitage of the sage Vasishtha, his entire royal army behind him. He expected a simple monk's welcome. He got something else entirely. Vasishtha kept a single cow, set to grant any wish. At his quiet word, she conjured a feast for the king's entire army, fruits, sweets, delicacies no royal kitchen could produce. Thousands of soldiers ate until they could eat no more. Vishwamitra had never seen power like it, power his crown, his armies, his gold could never buy. He offered Vasishtha his entire kingdom in exchange for the cow. Vasishtha simply said no. Some things aren't for sale. A king does not easily accept refusal. Vishwamitra ordered his soldiers to seize the cow by force right there in the hermitage. At Vasishtha's word, the cow summoned entire armies from her own body, warriors born from will alone, not gods, not weapons. In minutes, Vishwamitra's entire royal army lay broken on the ground. Standing alone in the wreckage of everything he commanded, Vishwamitra understood something that broke him open. Shame on a warrior's strength, he said. The strength of spiritual discipline is the only strength that is real. That night, he walked away from his own throne. Vishwamitra went into the wilderness to become what Vasishtha already was. He began austerities so severe they frightened even the gods. Standing motionless for years, surviving on air alone, refusing food, refusing sleep. In time, even the gods had to acknowledge what he'd become, a Rajarshi, a royal sage, power earned rather than born into. But a Rajarshi was not what he wanted. He wanted what Vasishtha had. He kept going. A king named Trishanku came to him with an impossible request to ascend to heaven in his own living body, something no sage would attempt. Vishwamitra, still hungry to prove his power, agreed. Through sheer will, Vishwamitra sent Trishanku rising bodily toward the heavens. Indra and the gods would not allow it. They hurled him back down toward the earth head first. Enraged that his word had been overruled, Vishwamitra caught Trishanku mid-fall and built him an entire second heaven suspended in the sky to live in forever. Even the gods could not undo it. It was an astonishing display of power, and it changed nothing. He could bend heaven itself, and he still was not a Brahmarishi. Whatever he was missing, it was not power. Vishwamitra resumed his austerities, and his growing power frightened Indra all over again. This time, the king of the gods sent no army. He sent Menaka, the most beautiful of the celestial dancers, and a single glance, timed perfectly. It worked instantly and completely. What Vishwamitra never registered, lost in her company, was time itself. 10 years passed, while he believed it had been a single afternoon. He woke to find Menaka gone, and a daughter left behind in the forest, Shakuntala, who would grow up to become the mother of Emperor Bharata, the king India's own name comes from. The shame wasn't that he had loved. It was that he never even felt the years disappearing. He left the infant in the care of another sage and began again from absolute zero, a decade of discipline gone, and nothing to show the gods but the ash of it. Furious now, Vishwamitra resumed his austerities harder than before, and this time, when Indra sent a second Apsara, Rambha, to break him, he caught himself before he fell for it. But catching himself wasn't the same as mastering himself. In blind fury at being tested again, Vishwamitra cursed Rambha on the spot, and in that single act of rage, lost every year of progress he had built since Menaka. It was only then that Vishwamitra finally understood what had actually been defeating him twice now. It was never desire. It was anger, his own, unexamined, waiting under everything. So he began a third time, and this time, for the first time, without rage, driving a single moment of it. Just stillness, no test to pass, no rival to prove wrong, nothing to defend. Out of that silence, facing the rising sun, Vishwamitra gave voice to a verse, not a prayer for wealth, not for victory over anyone, but simply, let my mind be illuminated. Today, it's called the Gayatri mantra, recited by more people, more mornings than almost any other verse on earth. Even now, the gods hesitated to call him Brahmarishi. One thing still stood in the way. Not a test from heaven this time, but a grudge Vishwamitra had carried since the day a cow's army broke his own. So Vishwamitra went finally to Vasishtha himself, not to defeat him, not to prove anything, just to stand before the man he had hated for decades without hating him anymore. And Vasishtha, his oldest rival, the man whose cow started all of it, embraced him and spoke the word Vishwamitra could never have claimed for himself. Brahmarishi. The title only meant something because his greatest opponent was the one who gave it. Years later, sage Vishwamitra arrived at the royal court of Ayodhya, not to conquer anything this time, but to ask King Dasharatha for the help of his two young sons, Rama and Lakshmana, in guarding a sacred ritual from demons. He took the boys into the forest and armed them with celestial weapons no other teacher on earth could give. The same relentless discipline that once tried to seize a cow by force, now spent entirely on someone else's sons. On the road, Vishwamitra brought young Rama to a stone that had once been a woman, Ahalya, frozen by a curse for years beyond counting. At the sage's guidance, Rama's touch broke it, and she woke. The man who once tried to take a cow by force spent his final chapter giving everything away instead. Knowledge, weapons, a woman's freedom from stone. He never kept Nandini. Every sunrise since, somewhere, someone recites the 24 syllables he found in the silence he finally earned. If this story moved you, hit like, subscribe, and join us for more tales from Katavana, stories that outlive time.